Hi and welcome. This article is about my block deck that I've been running through some good performance at daily events and two main queues on MTGO. So this is not a straight UI control, but it's UI with red. I'm splashing red for two burst lightings. And as you can see, the main differences from this decks to the others that are running around is that Spreading Seas is in the board, not in the main deck, and Conqueror's Pledge is absent. The thing about Spreading Seas, most of the time that I used to play with them, I usually boarded them out on game 2, so I felt like they were unnecessary. By playing them in the sideboard, you really just want to put them in against certain matchups like Valakut Ramp or Vampires if you are playing first and depending on the cases. I'm running the basic 4 Day of Judgment, 4 Cancels, 4 Into the Royals, 4 Journey to Nowheres, and 2 Rite of Replications. About the creatures, I'm currently running 2 Sanctifiers main deck to deal with Kali Heart expeditions, with quests for the Grave Lord that the vampires are currently using to play against U-Whites and even in the mirror. I'm also packing two Devout White Casters because, as I've said in some other videos that you're going to see ahead, Vampires is the most played deck in this format. More than 50% of the players that are currently playing in two men and daily events is Vampires. And if you can check the daily events page on Wizards of the Coast, you're going to see that from the top 8 of every daily event, almost 4 or more than 4 are exclusively Vampires. So I'm also packing the 4 Sphinx of Lost Truths in order to draw some cards and the Sphinx of Jar Island. The thing about burst lighting is that it can deal with cards that the deck usually has no way to deal, like Malakir Bloodwitch. You can only get there with Day of Judgment. Vampire Nighthawk, of course you can deal with Journey to Nowhere or the Bolt White Caster, but it's also a good card to have against them because the 3 toughness uh, is mined by the kicker. So you can also use it against mono red because it goes to elemental appeal, to Zedkar Shrine Expedition, Goblin Guide, Geopedes. It can really wreck them. Against mono black, it can kill every creature they play. Against Valakut aggro, I usually board them out because most versions only have oracles and maybe geopedes, and then they bring in Ruin Blaster from the board. And since Burst Lighting can't deal with Ravaging Balloffs, usually board them out. The thing about Spreading Seas is that if you don't draw them soon enough in order to actually mine some action from vampires, you're already going to lose. So talking about the sideboard, I'm currently packing the almost obligatory two Devout White Casters in order to play against vampires. I have an extra burst lighting for also vampires and White Weenie and Mono Reds. Sanctifiers always going against mono black, mono red, also white weenie, and in the mirror because they usually bring in Luminarca Shensons and they have already Journey to Nowhere. I have Archive Trap for two matchups, the mirror and the Valakut ramp. Because usually, if you are able to mine at least one or two Valakuts, they can't win with them because you also discard lots of mountains. They only have a limited amount of them, like 10, 11, or 12. And if you go Archive Trap when they search for Valakut with the expedition map or the Kali expedition for two lands, you can use your Archive Trap. And since they are packing fetches and the expeditions and the maps and oracles, Archive Trap also works against them because they usually begin with 10 or 20 cards less than you. Demolish is also there against Valakut matchups because in the beginning I felt like it was the only matchup that I couldn't win even after board. I bring in 3 Demolish, 4 Spreading Seas, and 4 Archive Traps and the Sanctifiers because they are really great and they work well. Against the mirror, my primary plan began by bringing in Demolish on the play and on the draw not, and I usually started with Luminar Kashensen, but it just didn't pay off. And currently, most versions are also playing Edron Crab in the sideboard against the mirror because usually you bring out removal and the crab can go the distance. So I bring in the 4 archive traps in order to prolong that battles. And usually when they try to cast Think of Lost Troops, I never counter them. And usually I also use Into the Royal because people are not always aware that the game can actually go to cards, and Archive Trap, when they cast a fetch or search for a land, usually gets them. Conqueror's Pledge is the card that, as I've said, I'm lacking. I don't feel like it's necessary because against vampires, usually if they overextend, you have Wrath. And the cards that you want to deal with, like Bloodghast, you want to deal with it with Journey to Nowhere. Molecule Blood Witch just laughs on Conqueror's Pledge. And in the mirror, they usually have Wrath of God, the Day of Judgment, that are superfluous cards. And if you play Conqueror's Pledge, they usually can deal with it anyway. Against Valkutago, it's just too slow. And against White Winnie, it's also slow because they have like Step Links, or if you're playing against Barely Borders, they also have Step Links, GOP. They can kill you by turn 4 or 5 when you're casting the Concourse Pledge. They may also have Skyfisher. But talking about matchups that I'm going to talk later in the other videos, this deck, I'm feeling very comfortable with it. It has a very good percentage against vampires. The only thing that I don't really like is the mirror. I feel like I can't, with this version, it's worse to play the mirror. I'm thinking on trying to sideboard more cards, probably take out the Demolish since the ramps are going away from the scene, and bring in Luminarchs, or try the Idrum Crab plus Archive Trap sideboard plan. So, yeah, I'm going to talk in the next video about the cards that are usually bad against you.